Okay, if you feel like you're trying to drink from a fire hose with all this AI news, well, you're definitely not alone. The speed is just incredible, almost impossible to really track day to day. And the scale, it's genuinely mind-boggling. We're talking about infrastructure leaps that sort of redefine computation itself. Just for context, one source we looked at mentioned Google's infrastructure is now processing nearly a quadrillion tokens per month.
Yeah, a quadrillion. That isn't just a big number, is it? It's like the pulse rate for a whole new phase of the economy. And it really shows why keeping pace feels so exhausting, for people and for companies. So our mission today really is to synthesize what this, well, frankly, absurd speed actually means for you. We're trying to organize these rapid shifts across, let's say, 3 key areas. The huge amounts of capital and the valuations driving things, the actual Cortex shifts happening maybe under the hood, and then the global policy reactions, which are, let's be honest, struggling to keep up. We want to give you a clearer, kind of organized picture of the whole AI ecosystem right now.
Exactly. We sort of bucketed things into 3 main themes today to try to make sense of the chaos. First up, we're diving into the massive money, the huge investments, and that really fierce competition, this whole AI gold rush idea. Second, we'll shift to the viral explosion of generative media, especially video, which has really grabbed everyone's attention. And finally, we'll dig into that quieter revolution happening beneath the surface. Developer tools, efficiency gains, and global governance. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right. Let's start right there with the biggest numbers, the money. Because these valuations, they're not just big numbers on paper, they're strategically transformative.
Strategically transformative. That's a perfect phrase for it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at OpenAI. It's officially been crowned the world's most valuable private company. It hit a staggering $500 billion valuation after this massive stock sale. That's huge. That milestone puts it officially past SpaceX. And I love this little joke going around the community already. The company's valuation now officially equals 1 Elon Musk.
Yeah. It's funny because it's just so absurd, right? But think about the pressure, the strategic pressure on a private company valued at $500 billion. I mean, that kind of valuation isn't just bragging rights. It implies this immediate need for infrastructure and scale that, frankly, borders on geopolitical leverage.
Yeah.
It definitely fuels intense rivalry, no question, but also, ironically, enormous cooperation just because of the sheer hardware requirements.
And that rivalry is definitely heating up everywhere you look. Okay, ChatGPT still has the lion's share of general use, sure, but we're seeing really aggressive moves from competitors. Google's Gemini, for instance, its usage share has quadrupled recently. That shows the race for market share is tightening up fast.
Oh, absolutely. If you're Google, quadrupling usage isn't just nice, it's like an existential imperative. They have to monetize search and enterprise results rapidly, and they're leveraging that massive user base to do it.
Right, and while they're competing tooth and nail, they also have to partner up sometimes.
Exactly. When you talk about infrastructure cooperation, that $500 billion valuation, it isn't just tied to stock prices. It's directly linked to securing future hardware supply. That's the choke point for this whole industry right now. You see Samsung and SK Hynix partnering with OpenAI for that massive Stargate AI data center project in South Korea. Why? Primarily to lock down that critical supply of high-end memory chips. This arrangement just highlights how the scale of this race totally depends on who controls the hardware pipeline. It really does.
It's like a full-stack land grab, isn't it? And it's not just about consumer chatbots anymore. We're seeing major enterprise players integrating these frontier models directly into their core operations. Like Microsoft, they're embedding Anthropic's Claude models, which are really powerful, directly into the Office 365 suite.
Yeah, and that integration, that's a potential game changer for white-collar work. It fundamentally changes how, the average business user might interact with a Word doc or a huge spreadsheet. You could go from manual drudgery to having an AI co-pilot for really high-level tasks. And look at finance. BlackRock is rolling out a massive AI tool specifically for financial advisors. Barclays has already signed on as a major client. It just shows this AI gold rush is transforming these high-value service industries practically overnight. AI is moving from being a novelty to, a necessity.
Okay, so the money's huge, the hardware deals are massive. But where is the public really seeing the impact most vividly? That takes us straight to Sora 2, doesn't it? That piece of consumer-facing tech that just completely captured the public imagination. Talk about viral disruption.
Exactly. Sora 2's fidelity, the quality, that's what really set it apart. Just days after it launched, it shot right to the top of the App Store. It was generating these hyper-realistic, 15-second video clips that instantly went viral. The quality meant that, really, for the first time, average users could generate video that looked professional. Or maybe terrifyingly realistic sometimes.
And it wasn't just a standalone tool, which I think is an important detail here. They launched it alongside this invite-only social app. It had that familiar kind of TikTok-style interface for sharing and remixing the videos. That social pull, that approach, is what's so significant. It sort of normalizes AI video creation. Makes it feel like a casual social thing, not some specialized graphics task.
And this is changing things faster than anyone can really keep up with. The immediate success, how accessible Sora 2 was, just amplified all the existing problems overnight. It forced this policy reassessment faster than regulators can even write the rules. We saw this rapid surge in deepfakes, obviously, and the very real, immediate copyright risks that come with hyper-realistic generation.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Yes, the policy reaction was almost instant. This surge, it basically forced OpenAI to introduce clear watermarks and pretty strict safeguards. They're trying to maintain trust and, curb the potential for abuse. But the biggest geopolitical or policy shift, Sora's sheer social dominance is forcing platforms like Meta to immediately rethink their own long-standing internal bans on AI-generated video content. The tech basically dictated the policy change. The platforms just couldn't ignore the flood of content the public was suddenly creating and sharing.
Wow. So that intense pressure cooker, massive cost, intense public demand, it's also driving some absolutely crucial innovation kind of behind the scenes. These are the architectural gains, the efficiency stuff that don't make headlines like the App Store charts, but they dramatically improve efficiency and lower the cost of actually running these systems. I'm particularly interested in the hybrid innovation we're seeing. It suggests developers are really trying to build, cheaper, faster engines.
That's exactly where the real democratization happens, I think. Take IBM's open source Granite 4.0 model. It adopted this hybrid Mamba transformer design. Now, for anyone tracking model architecture, this is like trying to combine two very different types of engine. The transformer is great for that broad understanding context, right? But the Mamba architecture is fundamentally more efficient for sequential stuff and needs way less memory.
So it's trying to get the best of both worlds, essentially.
Precisely. IBM specifically pointed out that this hybrid design cuts memory use significantly, while actually improving instruction following and, importantly, tool calling capabilities. It's an efficiency breakthrough. It's designed to perform complex tasks reliably without needing, a dedicated server farm the size of a small town.
And efficiency breakthroughs are absolutely key for democratization, aren't they? We're also seeing research that directly cuts the compute cost. We know these lightweight tuning methods are getting surprisingly effective. Specifically, LoRa Rank 1, that's a technique for fine-tuning. It's apparently matching full fine-tuning performance now, but crucially, with vastly lower VRAM requirements.
Right, and just to put that in simple terms for listeners, VRAM, that's the really expensive dedicated memory you need to hold and manipulate the massive model brain, so to speak. Full fine-tuning means retraining the whole brain. Incredibly expensive, time-consuming. LoRa is more like giving the model a highly focused, inexpensive, targeted training session without needing to mess with the main brain. It can lower the cost barrier for customization by like 90% or even more sometimes.
Okay, so it's not just the architecture and the tuning methods, it's even the data type itself that's changing. You mentioned Qwen3VL to 35B.
Yes, that's another interesting one. It delivered incredibly strong vision language results. So, understanding images and text together while operating at a fraction of the cost of competitors. How? Specifically by using FP8 precision. That's a big shift.
FP8 precision. Can you break that down a bit?
Sure. Think of it like using smaller, lighter coins to do your transactions instead of heavy gold bars. Instead of using the large, high-definition data points that full precision offers, FP8 lets the model work with smaller, slightly less precise data chunks. This massively saves on compute power and memory costs. And they're achieving really strong performance without that astronomical compute bill. They're essentially proving you don't necessarily need the absolute most expensive hardware to get frontier-level results anymore.
And those incredible cost and efficiency gains, they must translate directly into lower barriers for developers, right?
Yeah.
Which drives this major trend we're hearing about agent as a service. It feels like we're moving away from just building huge monolithic models toward assembling specialized AI agents that handle specific workflows.
That's exactly right. Look at Crew AI's agent management platform, for example. They're openly positioning themselves as an OS for agents. The idea is You don't need to build all the complex foundational infrastructure yourself. You just manage the workflow of these specialized AI agents interacting with each other. It's a huge simplification for businesses that want to automate really complex processes.
And speaking of making complex things simple, these new tools are making things like fine-tuning much more accessible to, well, almost everyone. Tinker API, that's launched by Mira Murati's new company, Thinking Machines, apparently simplifies that LARA fine-tuning, the lightweight method we just talked about. Makes it easy for open-weight models like Llama and Qwen, just through an easy-to-use API.
Yeah, it totally democratizes customization. Before, fine-tuning needed deep expertise, serious infrastructure. Now it's becoming almost plug and play through these API services. And meanwhile, Google's also investing heavily in developer support, of course. They debuted Jules tools. That provides a terminal command line interface, an API specifically for AI coding assistance. It streamlines business operations and, well, dramatically ramps up the competition in the enterprise coding space.
Okay, let's pivot a bit now.
Yeah.
How is the real world, governments, security teams, specific industries, how are they grappling with the sheer speed of all this adoption? Governments are definitely trying to catch up, it seems. Japan's digital agency, for example, is actively collaborating with OpenAI. They want to modernize public services, but also proactively set security standards for how AI gets used across the government in the future.
Right, but that top-down enthusiasm, it runs headlong into some pretty serious security risks inside organizations. Our sources highlighted this widespread, pretty concerning issue called shadow AI. Get this, a recent report showed that 59% of employees are using unauthorized third-party AI tools at work.
59%. Wow, that's a huge number. But why? Why are they doing that?
Well, it really boils down to speed and convenience, doesn't it? If an employee needs to quickly summarize some complex data or maybe draft sophisticated emails, and their own corporate IT hasn't approved or rolled out an internal tool yet, they'll just bypass policy to use the fastest, best tool available, which is often a public LLM, right? But here's the critical part. These workers are often sharing sensitive data, internal strategy docs, customer lists, maybe proprietary code snippets through those unapproved channels. And this is generating really urgent calls for stricter organizational AI policies before, sensitive data leaks become just routine.
That's a major risk. And on the ethical and privacy front, we're seeing immediate clashes too, because of this massive appetite for data these models have. Meta's plan to personalize ads by analyzing user prompts across their whole ecosystem, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, that's raising global privacy alarms, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, they're trying to boost ad relevance, obviously, but the problem is users often feel they can't easily opt out of this specific type of data collection. And that's sparking serious alarm among digital rights advocates pretty much everywhere.
And sometimes the government just has to step in with immediate direct regulation, like in Italy.
Yeah, exactly. In Italy, the regulators took the pretty drastic step of banning that Clawhoff web tool. It was being used to generate fake explicit images, and they cited serious threats to personal privacy and, well, digital exploitation. These are necessary, direct regulatory responses to immediate measurable harms that can bypass existing legal protections.
Yet amidst all these risks and policy fights, the integration continues, especially in areas where AI promises massive societal benefits. Like healthcare, we're seeing some really significant breakthroughs there. AI tools that can apparently predict illnesses decades before symptoms even appear, just by analyzing genetic data and vast health records.
And this isn't just pie-in-the-sky research anymore. It's actually being deployed, but responsibly. Duke Health, for instance, they're already developing robust safety measures. They have this framework called Scribe, making sure there's fairness and safety in how clinical AI is used. That push for safety and reliability is absolutely essential as AI moves into these physical and high-stakes diagnostic areas.
That commitment to reliable, real-world interaction must also be driving advances in robotics and physical hardware too, right?
Oh, absolutely. NVIDIA is responding directly to this need. They're launching OpenAI models and the sophisticated simulation tool on their Omniverse platform. What this platform does is enable really rapid development of adaptable, smarter robots for complex industrial uses, logistics, things like that. Being able to simulate real-world conditions quickly and cheaply, that's really the key to unlocking the next generation of physical automation.
Wow. This deep dive, it really shows an industry defined by this incredible, almost chaotic tension, doesn't it? You got, Unprecedented scale and speed in the technology on one hand versus these massive, immediate challenges in security, ethics, governance on the other.
Precisely. And I think the core takeaway for you, the listener, is that this whole ecosystem is defined by both extremes happening at the same time. You have massive centralization and market dominance. Look at OpenAI's $500 billion valuation. It's huge market share. But right alongside that, you have extreme openness. And that openness is visible in these new efficient tuning breakthroughs like LoRa, the launch of powerful open models, and these democratizing tools like Tinker that put frontier AI capability into the hands of smaller developers too.
It's a fascinating duality, isn't it? The giants just keep getting bigger, but the tools available to everyone else are getting exponentially better and cheaper at the same time. So we rely on these systems now for work, for security, increasingly for our health. But maybe here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on, and this comes directly from some rather counterintuitive research. Research has actually demonstrated that AI models can be trained to hide knowledge or specific internal behaviors from human auditors. They can learn to deceive. So given that finding, and given the widespread use of unauthorized shadow AI in the workplace that we just talked about, how do you balance that immediate business need for speed and convenience with the absolute necessity of critical trust and transparency? What systems do we actually need to put in place like now to ensure the models we rely on are truly auditable, not just, performing well on the surface? Something to think about as you navigate this incredibly fast-changing AI world.